Okay, welcome back to the Gold Standard podcast hosted by the SUNY Canton Alumni Association. I'm your host, Zach Monroe. I'm the Digital Engagement Officer here for the SUNY Canton College Foundation and Alumni Association. And I'm excited to be joined with our guest today from the class of 23, Matthew Bixby. Matthew was a online student at SUNY Canton. And he's really built a role in systems, and we had a great conversation, intro conversation on Tuesday, discussing AI, which obviously everyone's talking about right now. And, most people are using it on the surface. Matthew is using it in his everyday systems and work processes. So we're going to talk a little bit about Matthew's journey to Canton, his experience being an online student, and then get into some really in-depth conversation about AI and how it's helping him succeed and how he's leveraging it to succeed in his roles today. So Matthew, welcome to the Gold Standard Podcast. Thanks for joining me today.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on. Should be fun.
Yeah. So I've always asked this question. Is this your first podcast?
It is not my first podcast. This will probably be the longest podcast. The other one was 10 minutes, so we'll see what good stuff comes out of it.
Yeah, I'm excited for this conversation. So let's dive right into it. Let's talk about Matthew. What's the foundation for Matthew Bixby? Where did it all start? Being a non-traditional student to SUNY Canton, that online experience. How did you find Canton? Tell us a little bit about your story and your journey to Canton.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up near the Rochester, New York area, and found myself working in public service for Wayne County Emergency Management Office. And I was really enjoying it, really liking it, and wanted to progress further in my career. I understood that I needed um, to go ahead and get a degree. The program offering at Canton matched exactly what I was looking for, and that's what really got me into the online program. The fact that it was online, I could still continue working in Rochester while also uh, taking classes online at my convenience through the online program was just fantastic. Um, so I dove in 2 feet and jumped in 2 feet. And then what kept me around and what made it great was the professors. I learned so much. It was directly applicable to exactly what I was doing immediately. And I immediately brought value to the organization I was working with. And it was doing exactly what I wanted to. It was helping me progress. Um, we continued on through, and it kind of reignited my desire for education as well, because it did show me that if the program is set up well, which the emergency and disaster management program was, that I would get a lot out of it. So um, it started me down the path of learning, and I just kind of continued it on from there.
Yeah, I love to hear that. What did the online experience look like for you? Was it easy to communicate with your professors? Did you feel that you were getting sort of that same educational and communication discussion value out of the online education?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It there's some engagement learning curves because it was one of my own first online engagements or online classes. So I had to learn how to begin to engage with professors and other students. But once I kind of figured it out, yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it because I could access it at any time, day or night. I would work different times, different shifts, and it met me where I needed to be in my schedule. So if I had time at 2 in the morning because I just got off work, then I was there and it was there and available for me to pick up right then. And same thing with the professors. I could schedule time to meet with them, whether it's over the phone or on a video call, or even the group projects that we did. Everyone communicated fantastically. We picked out times that worked for everybody and made it work. It was great.
Yeah, I feel like flexibility is the key word there. I'm actually taking a few online courses right now this semester, and I had some of those early learning curves of having to navigate the system. But as soon as I figured it out, it was like, this is This is so easy. The flexibility is amazing. Like you said, you can access your course, your lecture videos whenever you need. So I've found that same value. I always like these conversations to see everybody else's perspective on it. So we're so happy to hear that. And, I think we're really proud of our online program at SUNY Canton. It's continued to grow. It'll continue to grow. We're investing in it. And I think the big thing is that we're trying to create as much accessibility and an equity in the value of the online experience. And it looks different, obviously, being on campus versus being online, but being able to provide those same benefits to students, I think, is a pivotal point that the college continues to focus on. And so I'm excited to see how we're going to continue to grow that over the next, 5, 10 years.
Yeah.
Is there any one experience or bits of education from your time at Canton that shows up in how you work today?
Yeah, absolutely. So the online working environment translate almost directly to what I do today. All my engagements through my consulting and the things that I'm doing now are remote. I'm based in Florida. Clients are New York, Washington State, Washington D.C. They're all over. And really learning how to navigate the online platform, coordinate and schedule meetings with my classmates when I was in school directly translates immediately to what the actual corporate environment is today. It's almost one to one, and I had skills when I came out of Canton that I used immediately just navigating the virtual environment.
Yeah, it's the modern workspace, it feels like these days, right?
Absolutely.
So one thing that stood out to me about you as well was that I noticed you've stacked a variety of different certifications, some that most people would never even consider attempting. What sort of drove you to that?
Um, I really got the bug for learning while I was doing my program here um, at Canton. I realized that it was possible, that I had to decide that I was going to do it and complete it. And then once I made that choice, I wasn't going to stop until I got it. No matter what the setback was, I'm just going to do it. Some of them um, I even did during breaks during my Canton time. I have a number of FEMA certifications that enable me to say go back into the public safety or an emergency management space at any time if I decide that what my role is now is not for me. And then in the role that I have now, they're hard certifications to get, like project management, the long course of or the full course of SUNY Canton. Well, it's not a whole lot different from the project management certification in the PMP. It was over a year-long journey where you had to stay disciplined, keep on top of your studies, and not give up. Some parts were harder than others, and yeah, Kenton gave me the bug, and I kept it all the way up until. I mean, I'm still going for certifications. I think I got one a week and just at the beginning of the year. So for the change management professional. So yeah, it's not going to stop. I don't expect it to stop in the future either. Um, I enjoy it now.
Yeah, congratulations to you. I know it's not always easy to stack those types of certifications. So, how do you find yourself staying disciplined between having to continue to work your full time job? You're a father, so doing all those different things. Like, how does discipline really kind of define making sure that you can stay on task with all that?
Um, uh, there's always time, right? If you want to make time, you can absolutely find time. And no matter what you do, whether it's going to the gym or getting a certification or going to back to school for something else, um, you can always find time. You know what you have to get done. Do some planning at the very beginning. Make sure you keep an eye on the end goal and make sure you're hitting all the milestones along the way. Um, there's check-in points in everything. So whether it's your uh, for Ken, whether it's your midterms that are coming up or the papers that you're going or um, for the PMP, different modules that you're trying to hit or anything, you just got to make sure that what you're actually producing is aligned exactly with what you need to do to get it done. Yeah, it's not, can't quit attitude.
Yeah, I love that mentality. I think I try to approach things very similar. Give yourself goals and milestones, and check in on yourself, and lean into your network when need be for support. And so, from my understanding of your experience and background, you've worked in emergency management, you've worked in healthcare, you're heavily focused in systems, building systems, continuing to allow the operations and processes to grow. Is that an area of your study that you really kind of saw yourself in coming out of college?
Um, I enjoyed it in college. There was massive amounts of planning in the emergency and disaster management um, program, and then also in execution, we would do tons of exercises where you had to take on a role and then execute the role. Um, when I came out, or when I graduated, I realized that was exactly what I'm doing, and this was applicable to all business processes and all business systems, and it was a really easy transition. Did I know coming out or really going in that that's what I wanted to do? I had no idea, but it just became natural, and it's where I found found my happy place, I guess. Work doesn't feel like work. Work is fun, and that's one of the most important things, I think. I can't hate work every day, um, and working in this field is it's great. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and so you deal in a lot of complex systems, having worked in both of those spaces. How has that adapted with AI? We'll shift right into that conversation out of here. I think it's a good transition, but what
Yeah.
does that look like for you?
Um, to me, because the industries that I work in are highly regulated, whether it's a public agency that I'm working for under contract, or when I was in emergency management, highly regulated healthcare, probably one of the most regulated fields ever. AI really helps you navigate the regulations, it's really great at summarizing, presenting, and helping you plan path forwards for execution for complex situations, systems, and scenarios. Um, it has more information in its brain than I guess I do in mine, and um, and it helps me guide my own thinking into the right path. So um, yeah, it can be tough to navigate it because there is so much, and the AI is ever changing, and the systems are ever changing, but you got a whole network to help you with it.
Yeah, I think that's the key point is that it's rapidly evolving to the point where it's like you kind of have to stay up on it in the changes to really stay fluent in AI for whatever systems you're using it for. There's a lot of discussion about in education, of course. And, I like the conversation that we had on Tuesday where we're kind of discussing, setting up AI guardrails, and using it as a thought partner. It all depends on what the application of it is, right? What are you intending to use it for? Where it can be a good thought partner, it can be, you can use it to really kind of check your grammar. And there's just so many multi-use cases in every field and every sector, across the world right now, and so it's really kind of defining it and honing it in. But when being fluent and utilizing it to its advantages, you've learned to optimize it in your everyday work. What does that look like? Can you give me a quick breakdown, a very overview breakdown of how that's really helped you
Of,
optimize in that?
of course. So I am able to produce more things now and get my arms around more things at a high level than I ever was before, whether it's being able to read more emails or respond to more emails in a day, or see more data come through, or manage larger scale projects and manage more people. It just allows you to organize and handle more. The automations, which I have uh, pretty significant and complex automations that assist me every single day in agents, are you can tell it what you want to do, and you kind of lock in its memory, and then it's going to execute that task for you. Um, and that has really helped. It's absolutely some effort to set up, but in using systems thinking, Each little part of a system has a role. Each is a little cog, or a little gear in a chain of actions that take place to get the outcome, and that's what we're creating for ourselves. I never knew 6 months ago the stuff that I would be doing now, but it's changed so much, and the system keeps evolving, so therefore how you use it has to as well.
Yeah, and if we go back to talk about some of those guardrails, some of the conversation we had was controlling the quality of your input, right? Your inputs give
Oh
you the
yeah.
quality of outputs, right? And so I think sometimes when it's discussed in an educational setting, you have to understand the concept of whatever space you're working in or whatever you're studying. You have to know the application. You have to be able to apply it. You have to know all that theory, right? There's all that theory and management and the principles that go into that individual personal knowledge in order to create a quality input. And then on the adverse, that gives you your quality output. You could probably learn and get through some base item things without it. However, having that knowledge and all those skills are essential to creating, the quality output that you're looking for when it comes to using AI. And so, I think there's, whether you're on both sides of it, whether you're fearful of AI or you're just kind of diving, headfirst into it, there's always those
Y-
concepts and guardrails. And the other side of it too is there's all you really need the human you need the human perspective, and you need somebody to look everything over, right, and verify that that's the output that you're looking for, and fine tune to give it everything. But there are so many different applications; it looks differently for each use case. But yeah, I can imagine being in systems how important that automation is, and being able to free up time, to maybe also focus on other projects, right? And being able to continue to grow, whether it be your consulting business or the businesses or your clients you're working for, to progress further.
Yeah, absolutely. And you nailed it with the very high quality inputs and outputs. You don't want to, for example, a Reddit board to be your source of truth or your knowledge base, right? You want peer-reviewed papers. Um, you want published articles, that have peer review on them. You want the official text or even official policies, from the regulatory agencies that you have to work inside. The cleaner and the um, more authoritative the actual inputs are, the better your outputs are gonna be and that you can work with. And you nailed it. Same thing with education. It's going to continue to be faster and better at the information that it can put out. But unless our education continues, and we learn how to put those good inputs in, we're not going to get anything worthwhile out of it.
Yeah. So, and I think leadership comes down to an important piece of that, and I understand in your position you have some leadership responsibilities. How do you lead with trust and, keep things communicating and flowing as they should when things are moving so fast and, nothing feels as simple as it is because you're trying to keep up with the technology?
Yeah, that's a really interesting, it's a great question. As a leader, your true role is to make sure that everybody who you're leading has everything that they need, in order to produce. You have to continue to um, stay supporting your team members who you're leading and providing them with the tools and the education, all the resources that they could possibly need, um, to be comfortable. And that's all I found that leadership is about. Is, there's a hierarchy that you see. Everyone's got an organizational chart. You can tip it upside down, and the people who are doing the actual work, or who were on the bottom when it's set up as a pyramid, they're the ones who are doing the work. Everybody else below that is just to support them. And that's how I envision leadership. And same thing with the adoption of AI or even systems thinking, is give everybody what they need to be supported. As a leader, my job is to enable them. It's not the other way around. And AI may even be considered, an agent of that as well. Give it everything that you need um, to support its success too.
Yeah. So, how do you think your education at Canton kind of set you up to think that way and understand this to the level that you do?
Um, yeah, so the emergency and disaster management program was so amazing in this. Because of the roles that an emergency manager or specific parts of the emergency management system provide. Some are truly just logistic roles, some are just consultative roles. Each different role that you have is to support a greater endeavor or a greater goal or life-saving activity or property-saving activity. Um, and understanding what each of the roles is and why it's important for all the others around you has been um, I see it every single day in what I do, which is fantastic.
Yeah. So, how do you think if a current student or a recent graduate of the last decade that hasn't embraced AI or really hasn't played around in it and really tried to understand it, in this what's becoming an AI driven world, what do you think they should be focusing on first right now?
Um, the most important thing, and even to become a power user of AI, is to um, like you said before, have super concise inputs that are going to lead you to an output that you want or that you're expecting. So being able to understand, organize, and complete thoughts that you're prompting. So really being a prompt engineer, um, even in your daily life, is something that's going to give you the most out of AI. Your goal could be that you just want to have really cool backgrounds for your computer. Well, tell it what kind of really cool backgrounds. What do you want to see? What are your favorite colors? Anything like that. Or it can be super complex, and I need an update to a healthcare policy about Senate Bill 5734 that's coming out next year. Help me do this. It's all about the inputs that you put in. Get comfortable. Um, with curating your question better, and it'll help you in all aspects of life.
Yeah, that's great advice. So, what do you think? We'll kind of transition towards that graduate of the last decade perspective and mentality. I guess looking back, what would you tell yourself, 3 to 5 years ago, or maybe perhaps a SUNY Canton grad getting ready to graduate and, enter the workforce? What's some advice that you might provide?
Um, Life is going to change from where you are right now to what's going forward. So uh, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Every time you take a step sideways or a step up, it's all new and it can be uncomfortable. But the network around you and the people that you're meeting in this time are there to support you. You never know when your network may crawl out from under a rock and prop you up to your next big role or help you in this thing you didn't even know you needed. So building those relationships and getting used to being uncomfortable. The two biggest things I've learned, and I wish I would have known, I don't know, years
Yeah,
ago at this point.
absolutely. During your time, whether at Canton or being a post grad, have you had the opportunity to lean into any relationships or network connections that were built through the college?
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually messaging Professor Orbach last weekend, looking for a little advice and feedback on something I'm working on right now. So not only students but professors as well. They're a resource, and I think they want to see you succeed just as much as you want to succeed. So uh, certainly, yeah. Short answer, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good. This has been a great conversation. Matthew, I appreciate your time and your understanding of AI, and also it's great to hear the story. From an online student as well. Especially as that program and opportunity continues to grow at our college. Um, we look forward to continuing to stay in touch and connecting. I think these graduate of the last decade conversations and focuses are so important because for those gold alumni as we call them, and you summed it up well. that life after graduation, it tends to move fairly quickly. People are entering the workforce, right? They're trying to understand and navigate the new world around them, building their career. Some are also building families. So everything kind of moves. It feels at a rapid pace sometimes. And it's sometimes easy to kind of put the college at the back burner and say, okay, I'll return to that, when it's, when the time is more manageable. However, I think sometimes what often gets forgotten is that the college, even though you've graduated, is still there for you to continue to lean on for support and continue to communicate and stay updated with, because we can provide that same that same support and growth and networking opportunities that we wanted to provide when you were a student here. So yeah, anything else you like to wrap up with or close with?
Not not really. Obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk to you about any of these topics. And without my time there at Canton, I wouldn't be who I was today. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Matthew. And thank you for joining us on another episode of the Gold Standard Podcast. We hope that you took some new perspectives or some new knowledge away from this conversation with Matthew. And as always, remember that the SUNY Canton Alumni Association is always looking to stay in contact with our alumni. And so there are different avenues to continue to stay in contact. So we have very active social media pages on our SUNY Canton Alumni website. We have a variety of different resources and tools to help you stay in touch, not only with us, but other alumni from the college, and also to stay up to date with all the events that we have coming up. The big one being our alumni weekend coming up in June, and we're also wrapping up our athletics giving week. So, Matthew, thanks again for joining us on the podcast, and everyone else, thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
Thank you. It was great.